Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jeanette. This is a channel where I talk about movies, TV shows, books, and anything I could think of. If you are new here, welcome, and if you're coming back, welcome back and hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to be introducing a new review segment called Safe Bet Movie Review. This is a new review segment.
We'll wing it right now.
Where I talk about movies that are not award or critical worthy, but covers the bills of major production companies or gives them something to have on their schedule and will gather enough money in the box office to be safe. The first film we will be talking about is the 2023 film To Catch a Killer. It is about a talented but troubled young Baltimore cop recruited by the FBI to help profile and track down a murderer. If you haven't at least watched the film, I highly suggest that you do that before watching this video, but if you don't want to, that's fine.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
Before we get started, please like and subscribe for more content. So, you may ask, what is To Catch a Killer? To Catch a Killer starts on New Year's Eve in Baltimore, where a sniper begins random attacks and kills random people at a variety of rooftop parties using firework explosion as cover. So I'm not sure if this was at the stroke of midnight or just leading up to midnight. It wasn't really specific, but that's kind of what he's using it as. We are then introduced by Eleanor Falco, not Edie Falco, but Eleanor Falco, who shows up to a call of an intoxicated woman who refuses to leave a diner. On her radio, she gets word that a mass shooter alert is out and about and orders the diner owner to keep the woman and everyone else inside. She gets to one of the rooms affected by the shooting spree and orders a mother who is too busy focusing on the body of her dead husband to step away from the body and then also to take care of her daughter who just came out of sleep. It seems like that she slept through the entire event, which as a professional heavy sleeper, I know that feeling because I slept through an entire fire alarm. Don't worry, I'm fine. So police identify the shooter's location at an apartment with the help of laser beams.
Frickin' laser beam!
Just before it explodes. Eleanor rushes to the exit of the building where residents are streaming out and orders another officer to take video of the people in hopes to catch the shooter. SWAT clear the apartment and determine that no one has died there. And despite having no mask, Eleanor decides to follow not only the SWAT team, but also the fire team, who everyone has masks except for her, but she decides to follow them. Though Eleanor passes out from the smoke inhalation, she glances at this toilet, causing Special Agent Lamarck of the FBI to order his team to take the entire toilet. At the police headquarters, the manhunt commences, led by Lamarck himself. Lamarck meets Eleanor in the break room and is impressed by her perceptiveness. The next morning, Eleanor gets a call from her supervisor and orders her to meet Lamarck. Unaware of why, at a different diner, Lamarck explains that he wants her, along with fellow agent Jack McKenzie, to work directly with him as a liaison with the Baltimore police during the investigation, and both accept. And at the bureau, Kenzie explains that the apartment was uninhabited and there is nothing to indicate any of the building staff or residents committed the crime. Another agent reveals that the explosion was caused by a grenade paired with a deliberate gas leak, and that the rifle used for the shooting is a U.S. Army weapon, which is over 40 years old. This leads Eleanor to voice a suspicion that the shooter obtained the weapon from a stockpile of retired arms. Lamarck, Eleanor, and Mackenzie travel to the morgue of the shooting victims, where they are interrupted by news that Baltimore police believe that they had the shooter surrounded and hurry to the scene. Upon arriving, they are presented by very thin evidence that troubled local youth perpetuated the crime. Tackled police entered the youth's apartment and caused him to jump out the window, offing himself. Lamarck yelled at Frank Graber for giving the go-ahead with little to no hard evidence. So returning to the bureau, Lamarck, Eleanor, and Mackenzie interviewed 3 painters who painted the empty apartment years prior. However, Eleanor had to leave after Lamarck asked her to take the toddler of one of the painters outside. And when Lamarck receives toxicology report from the coroner, Eleanor accepts it and holds off on notifying Lamarck because he's busy on a phone call, and she figured that she will tell him later. However, he lectures her for holding evidence and notes that she's just a liaison and does not have permission to decide for him or for FBI. So as she heads home, Lamarck drives next to her, offering dinner, but she assumes that he is just wanting to sleep with her, and so she confronts him about that and says like, oh, you could just shove it. But she says something else, but I can't really say that. However, he assures her that he is a married man, and not only just a married man, but also he's gay. And funny enough, when the dinner scene happened, for a hot second I felt that the guy that Lamarck lectured, Frank Graber, was the husband, but no, it's a completely different character. Just both characters are bald-headed guys with like maybe some facial hair, which I think it would have been great if it was the same person, just, you know. So afterwards, Lamarck reveals that he has learned that Eleanor once applied to join the FBI but failed her psychological evaluation, and he also found out that she admitted to take a bunch of random drugs from cocaine to methamphetamine, and noted to the doctor that evaluated her that she looks up to Kurt Cobain. And Eleanor explains that in the past she suffered with various mental health issues and addictions, including self-harm, and joined the police as means of taking back her life. And when Lamarck asks why she didn't join the FBI, she explains that she needed a college degree to apply to the FBI and didn't have the money nor the time to go to college. The next day, the killer commits a mass shooting at a mall. For a second, I thought that this was in San Francisco, but I guess there was just section in the mall that had the word San Francisco, but technically it's in the same city. And through security cameras, the team observes the killer and sees him stashing a shirt in the bathroom trash can. And when they went to see if the shirt is still there, they find out that the cleaning staff empty the trash. They also notice the shooter only took veggies from a plate left on a table. Eleanor notices that, and it reveals why the shooter is low in iron based on, I guess, the urine sample that they got. So while Lamarck meets with the mayor outside, and also like the mayor comes in a helicopter, which doesn't make sense, but okay, Eleanor and Mackenzie chase down the shirts at the landfill. And back at the bureau, new forensics clues come to light, and under the pressure of the mayor's office, Lamarck engages in a risky strategy of showing security footage from the mall on live television and encouraging members of the public to call with information. However, someone poses as the killer calls, and the police trace the call and follow the caller to 3 allies at a pharmacy. Eleanor, Jack, and then a couple FBI members try to make sure that the customers and the workers are safe by showing them a note on Eleanor's phone and asking them to leave quietly. However, when one of the customers, who is an old guy, having trouble hearing Eleanor tell him to leave, but also couldn't read because he didn't have his glasses, she kind of like takes him to an aisle before a shootout begins between Jack, another, I think, a Baltimore police officer and then the 3 suspects. However, this led to the death of the caller's 3 allies, and an interrogation reveals that he simply is just a prank caller. And in the aftermath, Lamarck is relieved of his post for his failure to apprehend the killer and the associated collateral damage. And as a result, Eleanor and Jack are off the team. Eleanor goes home, contemplates self-harm, but ultimately comes to realization about the story told by one of the painters. She confronts him at his home, and he reveals that he started taking more jobs than he could accomplish on his own. So as a result, he subcontracted a man fitting the description of the killer for the paint job. They bring in a sketch artist who draws a sketch of this supposed shooter based on what the painter described him as. Eleanor and Lamarck traveled to the said slaughterhouse, where they are confirmed that the killer's name is Dean Posse, and Dean is the son of a former shooting instructor for the U.S. Rangers. While at the slaughterhouse, one of the workers noted that a supervisor was harassing Dean due to his awkward and loner behavior before the workers found his body one morning in the grinder. And everyone kind of suspected that Dean was the killer, but he left before an investigation unfolded. Eleanor and Lamarck visit Mrs. Posse, his mother, at her secluded home. She claims that she has not seen him in years, but reveals that his father accidentally shot him in the head as a child, leading to a life of social isolation. When Eleanor notices that there are 2 cups on a patio table and male clothes hanging outside, she notices a small shed out back. She tries to get Lamarck's attention, but Dean shoots him to death. Eleanor convinces Mrs. Posse to reason with Dean, but when he refuses to listen, Mrs. Posse kills herself and asks Dean to join her. Dean enters the house, and he and Eleanor discuss his misanthropy. He asks Eleanor to kill him in his sleep, but before she can, police arrive and he knocks her unconscious. So he drags her into a secret tunnel below the shed. He begins like another shooting rampage instead of just giving up. Backup arrives, led by Mackenzie. Dean goes and sets up explosives for the shack. Eleanor tries to persuade him not to kill any more people and to just seek help. However, during their conversation, she ends up biting him in the throat, which, mind you, very strong teeth. A reminder to maybe brush your teeth and eat veggies, you know. As a result, he sets off the explosives, causing the shack to blow up in front of the cops. No one was severely injured. However, Dean manages to escape, and she subsequently escapes and rejoins Mackenzie. The police track Dean at another location, and he commits suicide by cop. Later, Eleanor meets with the mayor and his associates. They buy her silence on the true circumstances of Dean's death in exchange for a position at the FBI and posthumous honors for Lamarck. She was originally going to be a liaison for the FBI, but she says that we both know that I should be a field agent, to which the mayor was like, oh yeah, we can do that. She accepts and walks to work. Where? I have no idea. So the movie was directed by Damián, Szifron, who is an Argentinian director well known for his Academy Award nominated film Wild Tales. He also completed short films and a couple of TV shows and movies that based on crime and comedy, almost like kind of like a buddy cop comedy. This would become his first English language film as well as his first drama film. The movie was written by Szifron himself as well as Jonathan Wakeham. Wakeham does not have a lot of writing credits, but his upcoming screenplay, Midas Man, is said to be produced and released sometime this year. The original title of the film was called Misanthrope, which defines a person who distrusts or hates humankind. The title was later changed to Catch a Killer to keep the audience guessing more about the personality and motives of the killer. I feel that the original title sounded way better because it reflects both Eleanor and Dean's beliefs on society. I can understand why it can be a bit too on the nose if you know what the definition of the word is. In May 2019, Shailene Woodley joined the cast of the film, and Woodley was later pronounced as producer of the film. That same month, it was reported that filming would take place in Atlanta that year. And in October 2019, it was announced that Mark Strong was in talks of joining the cast. However, it was unknown which character he was planning on taking, and it was unknown why he left the film. In December 2020, Ben Mendelsohn joined the cast. The next month, Jovan Adepo was cast. Ralphineson, I hope I said that right.
You're right. It's fact.
Was revealed as part of the cast in March 2021. So instead of Atlanta, the filming actually took place in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, from January 27 to March 10, 2021. I feel like that the reason why this movie was made, probably because it targets people who really like true crime, as well as people who like to kind of understand why a person decides to commit crimes, particularly commit mass shootings. And I also feel that it targets more for a female audience, particularly in their mid to late 50s, who enjoy watching a seldom movie. And I feel like it's something you can watch with either wine or cheese, or wine and cheese, because that's very important. It also has a female lead that connects to other female officers like Clarice Starling and Marge Gunderson, who are looking for either a serial killer or solving a crime. There's also a couple of twists and turns about this film, but it tends to lean towards predictability. And since there are films and shows in the past like Silence of the Lamb and Fargo, chances are that there is an audience for this film. All you have to do is just tweak it a bit, like Untraceable or The Killing or True Detective North Country. A Variety review by Dennis Harvey sums up To Catch a Killer in my honest opinion. He wrote, "Indeed, the worst thing you can do about To Catch a Killer is that it's adeptly executed in all departments that one is disappointed it ends up feeling a tad generic. It's engrossing, sometimes exciting, yet never fully free from an overall sense of derivation. It's a classic case of a movie good enough with sufficient strong talent on board that you wonder why it isn't better, why a progress that firmly holds a viewer for 2 hours leaves such a fleeting impression afterwards." Which I can totally understand that. I really like Shailene Woodley's performance as well as Bill Manderson's performance. However, I feel like there were some plot points that prevent the film from being a great one. I feel that the reveal of the killer could have been more expanded a bit. Towards the end, it was a bit too rushed. The surveillance camera should not have been shown, and I think that it should be kind of like Nope, where you don't really see what's happening, but you could kind of feel the tension, and I feel that gives the audience like wanting to see what's going on. Because by not providing the audience the crime taking place, it allows them to be more intrigued by the film. In my honest opinion, I kind of feel that the music tends to manipulate the scenario, and I feel that there were a lot of moments where it didn't really need the encouragement from the music. It would have been fine if there wasn't any music at all. If the performance from the actors are good enough in of itself, why procedural or make it generic with generic music? The ending and for some of the scenes are a little bit vague. It doesn't really give an explanation to why. It also gives me procedural TV shows and novels series vibes, where it's just kind of gives you this hope that the film will lead to another series, kind of like the Jesse Stone's film series, where it's like, okay, it doesn't really tie it up as in like, okay, like this is the one and only film. It almost feels like that they tried to leave it open, almost kind of like a true crime novel. I would give this film a 6 out of 10. I feel that it could be done better, and I think, in my honest opinion, it had hope to be a really good film, like standalone film. I think if they just not make it generic with the music, and I feel like if they expanded the background of the killer, it would have made it a little bit better, and it would have made it a bit different. That is it for me. Thank you for watching this video. If you had made it at the end of this film, thank you for listening with my monotone voice. As an achievement, here's a photo of a man who just realized he said the opposite of what he was supposed to say. If you liked this video, hit the like and subscribe button. I feel like my goal for 2024 for this channel is to have 15 subscribers, so we have 2 more left. But yeah, I think that's it. Thank you guys again. I will see you guys next month. Bye.